Okay, good morning, everybody. Praise be to the Lord. We're going to continue with our classes of today, Friday, and now we're going with a class of math. Okay, we have 80 minutes in total to see the math class. Okay, we're going to make some exercises from your book, and we're going to explain a new topic about division. In this time, the division will be a pattern using in dividing with decimals. Okay, so I will share with you a video. It's a long video. It's almost 15 or 16 minutes. But I hope you take notes in your notebook because it's very important for you to take notes in your notebooks. Okay. Um, then in the next hour of class, because I will suspend the connection for this conference, for this class, for the time, because it's only 40 minutes. um I will explain the other class what I think are we going to do, and what exercises and what pages are we going to work in our book. Okay, so let me share the screen, and please take notes on your notebook. Okay, please take notes on your notebook about the video I will share with you today.
Fifth graders, welcome to lesson 5.1, division patterns with decimals. The essential question for this lesson is,
A question. Everybody listen well the video. Does everybody listen well the video? Show me your thumbs up. I will play again the video. Please, if you listen well, show me your thumb. Okay.
hi fifth graders, welcome to lesson 5.1, division patterns with decimals. The essential question for this lesson is, how can patterns help you place a decimal point in a quotient? Now, go ahead and open up in your Go Math workbooks to lesson 5.1, down on page 101, and let's get started. Now, before we begin solving problems in this lesson, I want to talk to you guys about some of the division patterns with decimals that we're going to encounter. In this first section, we're going to talk about patterns based on the number of zeros in our divisor. So what I noticed first is this. In the first problem, we have 147 being divided by 1. Well, I know that in a 1, there are 0 zeros. So that means my number is going to stay the same. So 147 divided by 1 is still going to be 147. Now, for the next problem, we see 147 being divided by 10. Well, in the number 10, I know there is 1 0. So what that means is I'm going to move that decimal one place to the left. Our next problem shows 147 divided by 100. In the number 100, there are 2 zeros. So what that means is I'm now going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So our answer turns out to be 1 47 hundredths. In the next problem, we see 147 being divided by 1,000. In the number 1,000, I know that there are 3 zeros. So what that means is I'm going to move the decimal 3 places to the left. So 1, 2, 3. And my answer turns out to be 147 thousandths. Now, in the next section that you see right here, our pattern is going to be based on the exponent that we see in the divisor. So for this first problem, we have 97 2/10 divided by the 0 power of 10. Well, what I know is the exponent there is a 0. So that means I'm not going to move my decimal at all. It's going to stay in place. So 97 2/10 divided by the 0 power of 10 is still going to be 97 2/10. Now, for the next problem, we see 97 2/10 being divided by the first power of 10. My exponent here is a 1. So that means I'm going to move the decimal one place to the left. So my answer now turns out to be 9 and 72 hundredths. In the last problem, we have 97 and 2/10 being divided by the second power of 10. What I know is my exponent here is a 2. So that means I'm going to need to move my decimal 2 places to the left. So we're going to move once, twice, and now my answer turns out to be 972 thousandths. Now, these two examples reinforce our key concept that says, as you divide by increasing powers of 10, the decimal point moves 1 place to the left for each increasing power of 10. Now, let's put this knowledge into practice. Now, let's take a look at question number 2. Our job here is to complete the pattern, and what I notice is in question 2 that each one of my divisors has exponents. I have the 0 power of 10, the first power of 10, the second power of 10, and the third power of 10. So I'm going to use what I know about patterns with exponents to help me complete this problem. Now, for the first part, I have 179 being divided by the 0 power of 10. My exponent here is a 0. So what that means is I don't need to move my decimal at all. So when I write my answer down, I'm going to write down that 179 divided by the 0 power of 10 equals 179. Now, take a look at the next part in this pattern. We have 179 being divided by the first power of 10. Well, my exponent here is a 1. So what that means is I'm going to write down the number 179, and I'm going to start from the end, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to need to move my decimal over 1 place to the left. So my answer here turns out to be 17 and 9/10. Now, for the next part of the problem, I have 179 being divided by the second power of 10. My exponent here is a 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and write down my 179, and this time I have to move my decimal 2 places to the left because my exponent here is a 2. So I'm going to come to the end, and I'm going to move that decimal over once, twice. So my answer now turns out to be 1 and 79 hundredths. Now, take a look at the last part in this pattern. We have 179 being divided by the third power of 10. Well, in this part of the problem, my exponent is a 3. And that 3 says that I need to move my decimal to the left 3 times. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to write down my 179. And I'm going to move that decimal over 1, 2, 3 times to the left. So my answer turns out to be 179 thousandths. Because once again, as you divide by increasing powers of 10, the decimal point moves 1 place to the left for each increasing power of 10. Now, let's take a look at question number 3 together. Once again, what I noticed is this. In this problem, my divisors all have exponents. So I have the 0 power of 10, I have the first power of 10, and I have the second power of 10. Well, once again, I'm going to use my knowledge of exponents to help me solve this problem when I use the pattern. So we're going to start out, and our first part of the problem is 87 and 5/10 divided by the 0 power of 10. So what I'm going to do first is this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write down 87 and 5/10. So we have our 87 and 5/10. And because my first exponent is a 0, I don't need to move the decimal at all. So 87 and 5/10 divided by the 0 power of 10 is still going to give me 87 and 5/10. Because remember, the 0 power of 10 also equals the whole number 1. And if you divide 87 and 5/10 by 1, you still get 87 and 5/10. Now, take a look at the second part in this problem. We have 87 and 5/10 divided by the first power of 10. Well, what I know is this time my exponent is a 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down my 87 and 5/10. And because my exponent is a 1, that means I'm going to need to move my decimal 1 place to the left. So we're now going to move the decimal 1 place to the left. So our answer now turns out to be 8 and 75 hundredths. Now, let's take a look at the third part in this pattern. We have 87 and 5/10 being divided by the second power of 10. Well, what I know here is my exponent is now a 2. So what that means is I'm going to have to move the decimal point 2 places to the left. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and write down my 87 and 5/10. And what I'm going to have to do is, once again, because my exponent is a 2, is I'm going to move that decimal 2 places to the left. So here's once, twice, and my decimal now ends up in front of the 8. So what that means is my answer turns out to be 876 75 thousandths. Because once again, as you divide by increasing powers of 10, what happens is the decimal point moves one place to the left for each increasing power of 10. Now, let's take a look at question number 4 together. When I look at question number 4, what I notice about my pattern is this. My divisors are a 1, 10, 100, and 1,000. So this time I'm going to base my pattern on the number of zeros that are in my powers of 10. So let's go ahead and start here. With the first part of our pattern, it says 124 divided by 1. Well, I know that if I divide 124 by 1, I'm still going to get 124. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write down the number 124. And what I also know is I don't have to move the decimal because there are no zeros behind the 1. So if there are no zeros, my decimal point stays in the same place. So once again, 124 divided by 1 is still going to be 124. Now, in the next part of our pattern, we see 124 being divided by 10. Well, I know that in the number 10, there is 1 0. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write down the number 124. And because there is 1 0 in the 10, I'm going to move my decimal point one place to the left. So we'll place our decimal behind the 4 to begin with, and we're going to move it one place to the left. So our answer now turns out to be 12 and 4 tenths. Now, take a look at the next part in our pattern. We have 124 being divided by 100. Well, I know that in the number 100, there are 1, 2 zeros. So what that means is I'm going to have to move my decimal point 2 places to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and write down my 124 again. And starting from the end behind the 4, I'm now going to move the decimal over 1, 2 places to the left. So the decimal now falls in between my 1 and my 2. So my quotient now turns out to be 1 and 24 hundredths. Now, let's look at the last part in our pattern. We have 124 being divided by 1,000. Well, I know that in the number 1,000, there are 1, 2, 3 zeros. So what that means is I'm going to have to move my decimal point over 3 places to the left. So I'm going to start out by once again writing my 124, place my decimal behind the 4 to begin with, and we're going to move it over 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So the decimal now falls in front of the 1. So my answer, my quotient here turns out to be 124 thousandths. Because once again, as you divide by increasing powers of 10, what happens is the decimal point moves one place to the left for each increasing power of 10. Now, let's take a look at question number 7 together. Once again, our job is to complete the pattern, and what I notice is this. We're dividing by 1, a 10, and a 100. So once again, I'm going to base my pattern on the number of zeros in the divisors. So for the first part in this pattern, we have 51 and 8 tenths being divided by a 1. Well, what I know is there's no 0 behind the 1. So if there's no 0, that means my decimal point does not have to move. It's going to stay in the same place. So I'm going to write down my answer, my quotient, as 51 and 8 tenths. Because once again, what I know is 51 and 8 tenths divided by 1 is still going to be 51 and 8 tenths. Now, take a look at the second part in our pattern. We have 51 and 8 tenths being divided by 10. Well, in a 10, there is 1 0. So what that means is I'm going to have to move my decimal point one place to the left. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write down my 51 and 8 tenths. And I'm going to move that decimal point one place to the left so that it now falls in between the 5 and the 1. So our answer now turns out to be 5 and 18 hundredths. Now, in the last part of our pattern, we have 51 and 8 tenths being divided by 100. Well, I know in the number 100, there are 1, 2 zeros. So what that means is I'm going to have to move the decimal point 2 places to the left. So I'm going to once again write down my 51 and 8 tenths. And I'm going to move that decimal point over 1, 2 places to the left. So the decimal now falls in front of the 5. So my quotient turns out to be 518 thousandths. Because once again, as you divide by increasing powers of 10, what happens is the decimal point moves one place to the left for each increasing power of 10. Now, let's take a look at question number 10. It's our first real-world problem-solving question, and it says, The local cafe uses 510 cups of mixed vegetables to make 1,000 quarts of beef barley soup. Each quart of soup contains the same amount of vegetables. How many cups of vegetables are in each quart of soup? Well, what I know is this. I know that the local cafe uses 510 cups of mixed vegetables, and that's to make 1,000 quarts of beef barley soup. They also say that each quart of soup contains the same amount of vegetables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 510 cups of mixed vegetables, so I have my 510, and I'm going to divide that by the 1,000 quarts of beef barley soup. So we end up with 510 being divided by 1,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to write down my 510, and I'm going to place my decimal at the end of the number to begin with. And once again, because there are 3 zeros in 1,000, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to move that decimal point 3 places to the left. So here's 1, 2, 3 places to the left, and now my decimal ends up in front of the 5. So what I end up with is I have 510 thousandths of a cup as my answer. Now remember, I can also write an equivalent decimal here. If I just take off the 0 at the end, I can also write that as 51 hundredths of a cup, and that would turn out to be my answer for this problem. Now, let's take a look at question number 11. It's our second real-world problem-solving question, and it says, the same cafe uses 18 5/10 cups of flour to make 100 servings of pancakes. How many cups of flour are in 1 serving of pancakes? So what I know is this. I know that we're using, or that cafe uses 18 5/10 cups of flour, and that's to make 100 servings of the pancakes. And the question is, how many cups of flour are in 1 serving of the pancakes? So we're going to take our 18 5/10 cups, and we're going to be dividing that by the 100 servings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to write down my 18 5/10. Now, let's look back at our number 100. In the number 100, there are 1, 2 zeros. So what that means is I'm going to have to move my decimal point 2 places to the left. So I'm going to move it over once, twice, and the decimal now falls in front of the 1. So what I have is I end up with an answer of 185 thousandths cups of flour that are in 1 serving of pancakes. And that turns out to be our answer for this problem. Now, let's take a look at our homework questions for tonight. I would like you to complete question number 1 and question number 2, as well as numbers 3 through 6 found on page 102 in your Go Math workbook. Don't forget to assess yourself. Do you feel like you're a novice? I'm just starting to learn this and I don't really understand it. Do you feel like you're an apprentice? I'm starting to get it, but I still need some coaching. Do you feel like you're a practitioner? I can do it by myself, but sometimes I might get stuck. Or do you feel like an expert? I understand it well, and I could teach it to someone else. Once again, don't forget, your homework questions for tonight will be to complete question 1 and question 2, as well as numbers 3 through 6 found in your Go Math workbook on page 102. Have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you in class tomorrow.
Okay, okay. it was a really interesting video, right? Because it's really explained very careful each step of how to divide or how to make divisions or pattern divisions with decimals. Okay. Now, I will share with you right now some slideshows. Okay, I will share with you some slideshows. Bueno, están escuchando a los perros, no hay problema en realidad. I will share with you some slideshows about to explain a little bit more the the topic of division with using patterns and using decimals. So please, I hope you to take notes about the topic. Okay. So Does everybody can see it? Yeah. Okay, we have here, we have here the we have here the topic patterns for dividing with decimals. That is the topic. Okay. Sorry, that's saying there a number divided by 10 is less than number. Moving the decimal point to the left decreases the number's value. Place value is based on 10. So dividing by 10 has the same result as moving the decimal point one place to the left. So, for example, if you see in this chart, we have noticed the patterns in the table divisor. We have the standard form, 1, 10, 100, and 1000. We have the exponential form, 10, 10 and 1, 10 up 2, and 10 up 3. And we have in here some examples. 89.5 divided 1 is equal to 89.5. We have 89.5 divided 10, it's equal to 8.95. We have here 89.5 divide 100, and this is equal to 0.895. Then you have 89.5 divide 1000, and this is equal to 0.0895. Let's continue. Remember that 10 is equal to 10 1, and 100 is equal to 10 up 2, or to 10 exponent 2. We are going to see this guide practice. Use 310, use in 310 use mental math to find each question. Okay, I will need here the participation of any one of you using mental math. Wait, Anita. Wait, Anita. And the number one, we have 370.2 divided that this plaquita, this slide means divisor. Okay, it's a division. 370.2 divide 10 exponent 2. What is the answer? You can write it on the chat. You can write it on the chat. Okay, that's good. Someone write it on the chat. And let us set is 37.2. Is 37.2. Let's see. Here. No. The answer is 3.702 or 3.702. Let's see the second one. One, remember, this is equal to, I will check the square again, okay? Remember, when you have 10 2, it's equal to 100. So you will divide it by 100. The number 2, 126.4 divided by 10 exponential 1. And remember, the 10 exponential 1, okay, it's equal to 10. Okay, in here, okay, to 10. So the number 2, the answer is, let's see, a lot of you, 12.64 saying here. Let's see the answer. Let's see the answer. 12.64. Very good, people. And the next one. 7.25 divide 10. How much do you think it is? Someone said 9. How could be 9, Matute? Dana said 7.25. Guardiola 0.25, 7.25. Okay, we have a lot of two answers. 7.25 divide 10, it's equal to 0.2725. Let's continue, people. Now, let's do this. 281.4 divided 10, exponential 0. Do it and write on the chat the answer. Okay, some of you said 28.14, another one said 281.4. Let's see. Let's see. And we are going to make it by steps. We have 281.4. So that is the answer. 281.4. That is the answer. Let's see these exercises. Let's see these exercises. Wait, people. We have 2,810 divide to 10 exponential 4 of the number 8. Okay, of the number 8. What is your answer? Come on, we only have 10 minutes. What is your answer? No sé. Try to do it. Roland said 0.2810. 0. Well, let's see the answer of the number 8. The answer is 0.281 or 0.2810 is the same. Remember the 0 doesn't have any value, okay? Doesn't matter if you write 0.2810 or only 0.281. It's the same answer. Number 9, 3,642.4 divide 10 exponent 2. What is the answer? A lot of you are writing on the chat. Let's see if you have the answers. 36.42. Okay, 36.42, 36.24, 42, 40, 364, said one of you. Mister, falta 9 minutos. Yes, I know. We're going to finish this. Okay, don't worry because we have another class. Okay, we have 2 hours of math today. Okay, what is the answer? Okay, so a lot of you said 36.424. Let's see the answer. Let's see the answer. And the answer is of the number 9 is 36.424. 36.424 is the answer. And the number 10, we have 364.24 divided by 10 exponent 1. 10 exponent 1. And the answer is 36.424. Let's see the answer. Let's see the answer. 36.424. Sorry, it's a mistake. in here. Okay, the answer is the same. Okay, let's see. Okay, people, we only have less than 5 6 minutes. Okay, I will disconnect. Okay, and I will change the video. COVID-19. ¿Qué le pasa, Roland? I will change the conference. Okay, I will disconnect the conference, and we're going to reconnect. Okay, so just give me a few minutes to change the conference into video, because I proved yesterday when I start another conference and it was changing the video or convert the video, everything start to look very bad. Okay, so people, okay, people, so we will see you in a few minutes. Okay, and to work in some exercises from the book. Okay, I will see you in a few minutes.